So before I explain the differences between planes and realms, I'm going to talk about a topic that, if this is your first time hearing this topic, you're going to be mind blown. But also, this is a topic that most people are not ready for. This is called the simulation theory. So, the simulation theory, this is a theory that a lot of people have been studying for years and years. This is a theory that modern physics has been studying, science has been studying, but also religion and spirituality as well. So basically, the simulation theory suggests that the reality or the world that we know of or the world that we're living in is fake or is an illusion. So basically, what they're saying is that the reality that we're experiencing, like the physical reality that we're experiencing, is actually a simulation. Like it's a computer simulation. Like if you know about video games or like simulations, it's basically like it's like a video game on a computer, and then you make up characters and you have different characters for different roles. So basically in this theory, people for years, like scientists, philosophers, psychologists, they've been studying this. So like they came up with a conclusion that basically the reality that we're experiencing is actually not real, and it was created by a higher being. So like so even modern physics, they've come to this conclusion that reality and everything that you can see in the physical, like every matter that you can touch, is made up of atoms and particles. So basically what this means is like everything that you can, like our bodies, everything that you can touch, like if you zoom it in, like at the end of it, like all that's left is energy and light. So basically like everything that you see is just energy and light. So basically just atoms. So like nothing is real. Like everything that you see is just like your mind makes up everything that you see around you. So that's why the simulation theory suggests that the reality that we see around us is all made up. But here's the thing. So they say like it's actually made up by somebody. So like it's a higher being. Like it looks like it's a higher being that's like they have access to like higher technology or like advanced technology. But this was not just in the science department. Even in the spiritual and religious department, they always knew about this. So even the earliest religious scholars and the earliest psychologists and philosophers, they all believed this. Like they believed that the reality that we're living in was actually made up, and we were trapped in the physical reality. We were trapped in this simulation. So like they were all trying to figure out how we can escape it, not just physically but also spiritually. So that's a lot of people, like this is not about whether you believe it or not, because like a lot of people have been studying this for years and years, for thousands and thousands of years. Even the character of Jesus used to teach about this. So like on the in the secret teachings of Jesus Christ, so like these are like teachings that they removed in the Bible. Most of them do talk about this same theory. So they say like the character of Jesus actually came here to remind us that this reality was a simulation, that the God people believed in at that time was not actually the real divine God. So apparently that he was just a made up God who decided to to make this simulation so he can trap us here, and then we can keep worshiping him. Yeah, it's crazy and mind blowing. But then when you start learning about these things, it all makes sense. So yeah, people have been trying to learn about this simulation and actually figure out how we can escape it. But why is this important? This is very important because haven't like have you ever wondered why billions and billions of people who exist right now, a lot of them don't know why they're here, but also a lot of them don't even know where they come from. Like a lot of people, when you ask them, where did you come from, like before you existed here, they will think you're crazy. But also a lot of people don't even know the answer to that. Don't you think that's crazy? But also like the fact that we don't even know where we go after. Like there's so many things that we don't even know about our existence. There's so many things that we don't know. Most of the things that we know about ourselves is things that we're told. But also even the things that we're told, most of them are like half truths, but also most of them we don't even know if we can trust them, because at this point we don't even know which what's true and what's not. But that's why it's important to learn about these things. When you try to understand these things from a physical perspective, it's crazy and it doesn't make sense. And it's so complicated. Like the more you find out, the more complicated it sounds. But that's why you're supposed to understand it from a spiritual perspective, because spirituality explains it in a way that like it makes sense. Because the simulation theory, basically what it is that we're spiritual beings, and long time ago this world used to be spiritual. It used to be all spiritual, but for a while, we started being trapped in the physical. So, you know how you have four bodies? Well, we had the spiritual body. So, we all used to be spiritual. Like, we all used to be just spirit. Like, the world used to be spiritual. There was no separation between the spiritual world and the physical world. And used to be the humans used to be the bridge between the physical and the spiritual realm. But for a long time, humans started forgetting who they were. They started forgetting their spiritual side. They started forgetting that they were spiritual beings. Also, they started forgetting that they were light and energetic beings. So they started being trapped in the physical. So they started identifying with their physical. But over time, obviously, different people started using that as an advantage. So they started going around and erasing people's identities and erasing people's cultures simply to keep people, confused about who they are. Because obviously, if you don't even know who you are in the physical sense, how can you even know who you are in a spiritual sense? Also, how can you even know where your soul comes from? Because it's like deep. So yeah, that's why I say everything is spiritual. Like everything that has ever happened in our history, everything that has ever happened to us is all spiritual. Let's go back to the topic. So what's the difference between realms and planes of existence? So I'm going to explain it the best I can based on my experience. So realms are different worlds that your soul can get to experience. So you have the physical realm, that's this world right here. So your soul has the ability to like experience this world, the physical realm, through this physical body. Not every spirit or every soul has the ability to do that. You have to have this physical body. That's this thing, that's the vessel that keeps you here. So that's the vessel that helps you be able to create, to be able to connect with people here, to be able to touch things, to be able to feel things, all those things. So the emotional realm, this is like, so in order to understand the emotional realm, you have to understand how emotions work. So every time you think something and you feel something towards it, so every time you feel something, those emotions they turn into energy, because emotions is actually energy in motion. So that what that means is that, so like we're energetic beings. So everybody on top of like what you know as your aura is your energetic field. So we all have this electromagnetic field like surrounding us. So every time you feel emotions, whether it's a positive emotion or a negative emotion, it travels through your electromagnetic field. That's your energetic field. And when it starts going in there, if it's a low, like a low energy, if it's like low energy, a low energy emotion, it gets stuck in there. It kind of makes you low vibrational, like it makes you vibrate to the same level as that emotion. And if you feel a positive emotion, same thing too, you feel things on a higher vibrational. But if you don't process your emotions, this energy they stay in there, like they stay in your field. So they start kind of like causing imbalances. That's why it's very important to understand your emotional body, so you can learn how to clear out the negative emotions and turn them into positive emotions, but also learn how to keep it balanced and not clogged. Because like negative energies they clog our energy field, but also hanging on to emotions and getting attached to emotions, it causes that too. So that's why it's very important to understand your emotional side. And then we have the mental realm. The mental realm is the realm of thoughts, ideas, and imagination. Have you ever wondered where thoughts come from? Because I don't think a lot of people know this, but most thoughts that will be going on in your mind, then they just come into your mind. That's why even ideas, you get ideas. You don't make up ideas, like you receive them. So on the mental realm or the mental plane is basically like this world of like thoughts and different ideas just like flowing in an energy way. So like every time you get thoughts or every time you receive ideas, you basically like you attract them, you receive them, you receive ideas and thoughts. You don't like they don't come from you, you receive them. So that they all come from the mental plane, that's the mental realm. But the mental realm mostly has to do with imagination. So every time you go into imagination or every time you go to like daydreaming, that's where you go in the mental realm, where you like the mental realm is also known as the 5D plane. So that's where the difference comes in, like, between realms and planes. So realms are worlds, and then planes are just like dimensions. So like states of being. So basically, the mental realm or the mental plane will be the world where you go when you go in my imaginations. That's the world that you can go to the same world, like, when you're on psychedelics or outer body experiences. So that's why it's very important to understand your mind and how your mind works, because like these are not really topics that they taught us in school. Like there's no school that taught anything about this. Like nobody sat you down and actually tried to help you understand your mind. But this is very important, because if you don't understand your mind, other people can tap in or other people can mess up your mind. So this can be done through like programming. Like there's so many things around us that's made to like program us to act certain ways. But the thing is, if you don't understand your mind, you actually can't tell what thoughts are your thoughts and what thoughts are coming from outside. And that's where your energy fields comes in. So your energy field also protects your mental field. But the thing is, like, if you don't understand your mental, if you don't even know that you have a mental field to begin with, how can you protect it? So like if you don't understand your mental, like if you don't understand what thoughts are yours and what thoughts are not yours, you can be confused, but also you can be confused about who you are. So that's why it's very important to understand your mental. And lastly, you have the spiritual realm. So the spiritual realm, that's the realm of spirits, or that would be the realm of like the spiritual world that we know of. So like that's where you find ghosts, that's where you find divine beings, but also like that's how you connect to the other world. So the thing is, like, us, like, we don't just have a physical body, we have a spiritual body as well. And the spiritual body is what's connecting us to the spiritual realm. And every time we go to sleep, that's how most of us, or like most of you, you get to when you're dreaming, you're traveling in different realms, you're traveling into the spiritual realm. Or when you have like when people die, they go back to the spiritual realm. So yeah, so it's very important to understand your spiritual side, because your spiritual side also comes with a lot. And a lot of people have been trapped in the physical because they don't even know that they have a spiritual side to them. People have been separated from their spiritual side because like they keep praying and hoping that somebody from outside of them will come and remind them who they are. But the thing is, like, you have to remind yourself who you are, because if you don't know who you are, other people can tell you who you are, and the whole time the version they're telling you is not who you are, and that can lead to confusion. But that's how we go back to the simulations theory, because it connects back to the fact that a lot of people have forgotten that. So like over time, humanity, they started focusing on the physical because science took over and religion took over, because like science explained how things happened in the physical, but also science helped people understand how things were happening in the physical. So they were like, we don't really need spiritual explanations, we don't need all those kind of explanations. So people started disconnecting from their spiritual side. Same thing with religion. When religion came, it made people focus on praying to somebody outside of them, instead of like focusing within and remembering that you are the blueprint. Like every question that you're looking for is within you. Like everything around you It's literally made to remind you who you are, because like everything around you is made, is either made to remind you who you are or to make you forget who you are, because like you have to be careful what information you're learning. That's why it's so important to know who you are, because like people will tell you, there's so many versions they're going to tell you, and if you don't know who you are, you're going to end up being caught up into that. And that's what's happening in this world today. We have seen people like literally hitting each other. People is very much attached to their outside identities. People are fighting over lands that they don't even own. People are fighting over lands that they found here. People have forgotten that we're only here to visit. Like we all knew this, like we're here to visit and then move on. But people have been so caught up here. They don't want to die. They're scared to die because they don't know what's there. But also they're scared of the unknown. But that's because they don't know. But that's all things that we need to relearn. Also, those are things that we need to learn. That's why it's very important to know who you are.